Hello peeps and hello peppers and happy new year. Many moons ago, a friend of mine asked me to make a video about what this film Interstate 60 means to me. It's like by one of the guys who scripted Back to the Future, and you may recognize some motives distantly from Back to the Future if you're watching Interstate 60. And by the way, this is not scripted, and I have 15 minutes until it's high noon. And I decided to go for this like mushroom picture, or its mycelium, while babbling about Interstate 60 because one of the points is there is no Interstate 60. Our favorite internet search engine says that is because it could have been like confused with the US 60, like the Interstate 50 and the Interstate 60 wouldn't fit into that interstate system. And this year, here 2025, will be my personal year of someone who doesn't fit into the system. And I am not going to edit this video. Yes, human brain has a problem with the word not. So I would actually be interested to know like how many hours the director's cut of Interstate 60 would be, because it's like kind of about some absurd experiences. Like some young artist, does that ring a bell? Has to figure out what he really wants in life. That in today's time, that reminds me of like all the social workers and all the financial advisors and so on who tell me you have to figure out what you really want. Okay, so this young man actually in the story feels rejected by a lot of art colleges. So, and his father gives him a brand new car in fire engine red. As a kid, fire engine red was my favorite color, by the way, and I actually always pestered my parents to get a red car, with mixed success. So, the fire engine red car is not really to the liking of the young man because his favorite color is blue, but this film is like not only about favorite colors. It's about figuring out what you really want by traveling on a road in a fire engine red car, and this road officially doesn't exist. Like, let's say this wide landscape with basically nothing in it and towns I never heard of sort of reminded me of the road trip through the western United States in the late 90s, early 2000s. The film in itself was, by the way, also Lika. I'm talking Icelandic while I'm talking English? Okay. This film was, by the way, also made in the early 2000s, and I first discovered it in the year 2006 when I was an exchange student in Iceland and was actually conflicted about if I should go back to Germany at all. And then at this point, the movie came on TV all the time, and I was actually really sort of scared of it because like the main character in the fire engine red car is encouraged to interact with people to collect highway stories. Like, per se, I'm not scared of interacting with people, and like back in the day I was like mentally and physically more nimble than I am today, so I loved interacting with people, but I always had an issue interacting with people who didn't have boundaries. Like, let's say one story is more absurd than the next in this film. And I won't tell you all the stories because this film has, for a reason, the subtitle "Episodes of the Road," so you have to watch those episodes of the road actually for yourself. Pick a favorite, and but let's say most of them come down to people sort of using their position in the misusing their position in the unknown little town or in the conversation. And the young man always has to learn to say no and to actually buy all the absurd questions and tasks that the people dish out for him. Learn to filter out what he wants versus what he doesn't want. So this is the point that I really enjoy. So like in today's time, I'm kind of watching this movie like at least once a month whenever I have to figure something out. And then at some point the young man asks, why am I traveling Interstate 60? Why am I supposed to do this? And then Christopher Lloyd, like the wacky guy who played Doc Brown in Back to the Future, and who also plays like the train conductor in a similar but more family-friendly film called Next Stop Christmas. He says, consider it a way to break in that new car, or consider it a way to break in that new century. So, I mean, the new century is already 25 years old, and yeah, I had high hopes when I was in Canada and when my Canadian friends took me on that road trip. Like, yeah, sort of when the new century started. And now we're 25 years later. I'm kind of stuck in many things, and I still try to see this in a positive way, because actually, like, whenever I have the feeling I'm doing nothing, I'm collecting information, like, to work on things, like how to. I'm learning a whole lot of stuff from YouTube, and like this new paint box doesn't have a proper green, so I have to mix it. Like sometimes I have to create things in life that were originally not there. And yes, Interstate 60 was probably originally not there either, because this person sort of, I would say, creates Interstate 60 by believing in it. And one other thing that the wacky guy says, that the human brain is wired like the interstate highway system. So obviously, like, the system is very rigid if it doesn't have space for Interstate 50 and Interstate 60, just because they collide with numbers of another highway system or something. And you can rewire the brain to see the places that you haven't seen before, which now actually becomes even more interesting, because like YouTube always recommends me related material, and like then there was a video with a really calming voice babbling into me, or whoever wanted to see this, about like learning to see the people that I haven't seen before, because they are actually like really inspired by what I or like any other recipient of this message was doing. What I find really interesting about this, about like seeing people that I haven't seen before that might be inspired by me, is that probably I and many other people do small things every day that we maybe don't consider that important, but that matter a lot to other people in our lives. And like in summer, someone came up to me and said, "Do you paint?" And I said, "Why?" And then, yeah, because it's been 16 years since I saw you last, and I still have a picture that you painted. So actually, like, one of my really Interstate 60-esque goals of the year is to make a good illustration every day, and then like either as a live painting on video or a live painting like out in society, or live drawing. Like these are actually like water soluble, but I actually like their consistency even when they are dry. And I kind of want to rewire my brain in the sense that I want to see the possibilities in my life that I and other people have not seen before. I want to meet the ways how I can really communicate without looking unprofessional, and I want to build this online community by delivering endless monologues and just interacting with the people who are really interested in this. Okay, now the mycelium of the mushroom starts looking a little bit like an octopus with a lot of arms, but I like octopuses because they actually have a separate brain for every arm. And that my favorite artist meeting group here, we nicknamed that the octopuses. Or is the correct plural octopodes? Now I would like to interact with linguists anyway, but in Icelandic the plural is a little bit more clear. I think I did mention at some point that the Icelandic language doesn't adopt so many words from foreign languages. So even octopus, that sort of Latin Greek, that would be kolkrabbi, but krabbi is cancer or crab. So I don't know why kolkrabbi is called kolkrabbi, but that's what I will ask my dear kolkrabbi people at the next occasion. And I actually really want to build up an art business and also explain complex information with drawings. And I want to draw the spirit of events. I want to illustrate some more music because of the synesthesia. So and of course, if someone is really interested in communicating with me, it's not wrong to watch Interstate 60, because films are always a good anchor for a conversation, unless they are too bloody or too gross. Let's say, I thought the kind of shootings and explosions in the movie were unnecessary, but let's say the background was necessary, and the shootings and explosions only happen a very short time in the movie. The stuff that I find more worrisome is the, let's say, psychological violence, but also even though I was scared of this movie in the beginning, I must say it taught me to be more aware of my own boundaries and say stop to people and say I'm not having this conversation anymore. So I wish you a great day with conversations that you want to have. And I'll see you hopefully tomorrow on Insta or on here. Bye-bye.